One element of literature to pay attention to when you're reading is point of view. And when we talk about point of view, we're talking about the perspective from which a story is told. So if a story is in first-person point of view, what we mean by that is that the narrator who's telling the story is directly involved in the action of the story. They're a part of the plot. And they're going to use pronouns like I, me, my, us, and we because they're in the story. Second person point of view is where the narrator is speaking directly to you as the reader and will use pronouns such as you, your, and yours. Third person omniscient is the point of view where the narrator is not in the story but knows what everyone is thinking and conveys that to the reader. Third person limited is where the narrator is not in the story and knows the thoughts of only one or maybe a few characters, but everyone else's thoughts are not revealed. And in both third-person points of view, they use pronouns such as he or she, they, them, third-person pronouns, right? So in first person, where the narrator is in the story, this adds a personal feel to the story because they're telling it from their own personal perspective. It keeps a certain amount of mystery because you only have some information. If the character who is telling the story doesn't know everything, then we as the readers don't know everything because we only know what that first person narrator can tell us. Second person stories are the least common. They're often used in self-help books, or in choose your own adventure stories. So this is a genre that's written for readers to be able to decide how the story that's all about you as the reader will play out. Third person limited, remember, is where the narrator is not in the story but does know what one or a few people are thinking. And so again, this has a similar realistic feel as first person because it's centered on one character. You know what that person is thinking, but you don't know what everyone else is thinking. So it lends a certain amount of realism and mystery. Third person omniscient is where the narrator is outside the story, but knows what everyone is thinking. And because of that, they can reveal information to us that not all characters have. And so that can add suspense or tension because as readers, we might understand something about an antagonist or about a situation that our protagonist doesn't know. In books with a point of view that allows you to understand the thoughts of multiple characters, you can understand that there's more than one side to every story. We're able to see into the minds of many characters and identify their motives and what makes them act the way they do, why they make certain decisions, and whatever else is going on in their minds, right? If the author does not reveal their thoughts, then we have to make inferences. And an inference is our educated guess based on the information that we have in front of us. So when we're reading, we'll notice that authors provide clues for us that allow us to be able to make these inferences and to understand characters and situations better. So to do that, we have to read critically. We have to pay attention to the things that characters say and how they say them, to what they do, to their facial expressions or body language. Reading all of the description from the author helps us to make inferences, right? You consider how characters act, how they interact with other people, and how other people react to them. They might be smiling, but if it's not an authentic smile and other characters pick up on that, that could be a clue, right? So with point of view, that affects the way that we interpret what's happening in the story. If we're reading, for example, first person, we have to consider, is this narrator reliable? Do they know enough about the situation they're describing that they can convey that clearly to us as readers? Or do we have to pay attention to other things, what other characters are saying or how they're acting, all these kinds of descriptions from the author in order to get a better picture of what's really going on.